with you some things you don't know that are drawn from my own experience in a life of drugs and drink and devices and other examples such as private equity acquisitions. This has been my journey as an independent consultant. I've been doing it for 13, 14 years, and this is what I sort of services I offer, but I'm going to move quickly. So in general, people think they're in control, you know, especially in bigger companies. We've got good tools, good processes, good theories, and we have smart people, so everything is okay. And in fact, that's not the case. You can go into the best company with the best systems, and you can discover value out of it during failures. So I'm going to share with you where I think I see the most frequent areas of failings. And I'm not trying to upset anybody. So this is the core. If I was to summarize it all in one page and just walk away, this is the message. Now, if you want the presentation, send me an email or send me a LinkedIn or give me a card. But these are the key things. I'm not going to read them. I'm going to give you some examples of some of the issues. I'm going to leave it there for a second. I know. I'm kind of contrarian on lean. Sometimes to make upset people, and you're all lean people, I say the biggest organization dedicated to lean in the world is actually Weight Watchers. And Weight Watchers keeps you honest because when you go to a meeting, they have a weigh-in. So as I never represent myself as a lean person, but if I wanted to tease a lean person, I'd say, well, show me the weigh-in. How do we know that we're doing better? A key thing, the thing that drives all our supply chain is demand. People do not understand their demand. Demand and forecast accuracy is not a number. It's a set of behaviors. If you're going to optimize your business, you need to decompose your demand, understand what individual customers are doing, why peaks are happening, and essentially disaggregate and figure it out and understand behaviors. If you over-summarize it and say, well, demand has this forecast accuracy attribute, and therefore we need to put in this distribution inventory protection, you're never going to move the needle. People, though they measure forecast accuracy, they never ask themselves the question of how forecastable is demand. So if you use the best of science, how accurate can you be in indicating what orders are going to come through the door tomorrow? Some businesses are intrinsically forecastable, and some are extremely badly behaved. And this is profound in terms of how you design your supply chains. In terms of positioning, distribution, inventory, there's a lot of science out there, and people think they know how to deploy it. But for all of these, there's many reasons why these tools embedded in the best of systems do not work. And the issue of lead time reduction, the way uncertainty amplifies over the lead time. These are all issues that people need to know and love if they're to optimize and move the needle on inventory outcomes. There's only one word in the whole lean lexicon that I love. All the Japanese words I actually don't like at all. The word that I love is flow. If you can create flow in your value stream, then you have a winning proposition. If you look at big businesses, my favorite example is one of the biggest whiskey brands in the world. If you look at its sales patterns into Spain, in high season, they'll sell 3 truckloads a week, and in low season, they'll sell 1 truckload a week. But when it comes to the replenishment behaviors that are coming through the best ERP systems, SAP, God bless us, you will see truckloads up to 20 or 30 or 40 truckloads being distributed, from the manufacturer to the market in 1 week, and then nothing for the next 6 weeks. And it goes back to the fundamental message of how does lumpiness come into a supply chain, and why don't we stop it? But in the best of businesses, we allow this to sneak in. So there's a world of what I would call triangulation. how do we triangulate between optimizing our manufacturing costs and optimizing our logistics costs and optimizing our inventory. People in general in companies are not able to play all three games. How do I ensure that my trucks are full? How do I know I don't have too much inventory in the marketplace and I'm not really screwing my manufacturing plants? But people cannot do that triangulation. And to do that, you have to have a concept of your portfolio, and you have to have a concept of a differentiated architecture. That is, one size does not fit all, but you have to say there are certain categories of products that I'm going to play the game this way, and there are other categories of products I'm going to play the game in other ways. And one can say some big products we should have much more flow in them, and other products we want to put on a periodic cycle. And other products we're going to fix the quantity rather than the period. And other products are just too dangerous to do anticipation. We're going to be made to order in those. And we've got to link the supply differentiation with how we're going to play the logistics game. And when you add all of these up, you actually get a cost curve where all the attributes of the modes of transportation, your factory setup dilution, and the costs of storing and financing your inventory all play together. And you can actually study this analytically and say, for these portfolios, this is what we're going to do. And it's a wonderful world. If you look at distribution structures in markets, and where product is going to, there's a world of really optimizing end-to-end cost to serve. And there's many platforms one can pursue. But again, I'll let you read them. I won't read them out for you. If you're trying to optimize a big beast of a manufacturing process that's maybe 2 kilometers across, there are big issues one has to take into account. Particularly, say, for a pharmaceutical operation, the biggest factor there is setup. In medical device, setup isn't really such a big factor, it's SKU complexity. But how you play the optimization game and how you say, how do my costs move as various cost drivers have different impacts and I get different results, people do not have a capable language for saying where on a cost curve they should be given their portfolio. And it goes back again to the same principle. Conversion cost benchmarking in pharmaceuticals based on average is meaningless. You have to put it in a context. It's like summarizing forecasting to one number. One number doesn't tell a story of behaviors. One average conversion cost doesn't tell the story of portfolio complexity. So if you look across industry, and when I reflect, I see we don't create flow, we use one-size-fits-all planning models, we don't have good methods for setting target inventory, we chase targets, but we don't have good diagnostics, and because it's not the theory that's the most interesting thing, it's the gap between your outcome and what you should have is the best diagnostic for what's going wrong in your business. We don't understand customer behaviors. We don't really understand our capacity, and therefore, because we don't understand it, we can't optimize it. And we can't play this triangulation game. We don't think end to end. The reason we don't understand capacity is elastic. Badly organized demand hitting a factory will degrade your capacity. In some industries, the level of degradation is 3 to 1. Well-organized demand can give you 3 times the output as poorly organized demand. It depends on the degree of setup and changeover in these characteristics of your business. Skip over this. This is about dilution of setup, and it's one of the big things. You know, how big a campaign should I have, and what's the inventory outcomes of that? And it's about a trade-off. And for me, it's summarized between: do I have a big campaign, and how far do I need to go to campaign to get a good outcome versus going to create level flow? And the answer actually jumps off the page at you from these charts. These charts basically, and you could apply to molding or whatever, your dilution of setup costs reaches a flat point. After that, you shouldn't increase the campaign, you should go for a level flow. So, if you create level flow, it creates the opportunity for very intense utilization. And the intensity of utilization is the biggest driver in reducing your cost of essentially your cost of conversion. I'll keep going here. Planning architectures. I've gone through this. The key thing I'd say for those of you is who believe in runner-repeater-stranger theories. A naive runner-repeater-stranger theory doesn't do justice to the complexity of portfolios. So products have different attributes. A volume analysis and an order frequency analysis isn't where the game is just at. You have to match your planning architectures to reflect the characteristics of your supply as well as the characteristics of your demand. We talk about the Shingo Prize. So Shingo was an industrial engineer. If you don't do the engineering, you're missing great value. People who do lean, they think that inventory is evil. But in fact, inventory is like cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and there's bad cholesterol. There's good inventory and there's bad inventory. Inventory in the right places helps your operation run effectively. It allows you smooth things. It allows you not, if you stabilize your workforce and stabilize your operations, you don't impair your knowledge set by essentially having people leave the business and come back in with demand fluctuations. But you need to be very precise on doing these trade-offs. So people who chase inventory, it's like chasing the only target in town. Inventory is an outcome of the mismatch between supply and demand. What you've got to be chasing are supply characterization and demand characterization. If you do those games, then the right inventory outcome will come out. These are days of inventory benchmarks in different sectors, so maybe interesting for some of you. But the thing about benchmarking is you've got to know the characteristics. The difference between a glass of red wine and a glass of white wine is 3 years of supply chain. A New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc can be produced in 2 months. A Spanish Rioja can take 4 years. So if you're benchmarking wines, you've got to be aware of the conversion cycle. If you're looking at whatever process you're looking at, you've got to go deep. So you've got to understand structure, dynamics, and use this then for creating a model to answer that very basic question, how much inventory should I have? And it's about parameterizing a structure. And then looking at putting in all these parameters and saying, yeah, now I know how much we should have. But the real interesting thing is when you have the model of how much you should have, and you discover what you actually have by brand is very different to that. That then is a diagnostic platform for saying where your supply chain is failing, where the behaviors, and whether they're customer behaviors or supply behaviors or factory behaviors. It's not about having a better theory or a better tool, it's about having better behaviors, and this is where the money is. Okay, I'm going to finish up on lean. So, this is the world of lean. The message is, if you don't do the supply chain engineering, you'll be seriously misguided. If you think lean is about relationships and emotion, and it goes back to you're engineering a manufacturing and distribution machine, you've got to view it that way. Too much religion, blah, blah, blah. I won't bore you with it, I'll let you read it. And finally, to have a theory of how to design your supply chain, you have to be able to see it. If you're a medical device manufacturer, you could have, if you're an implant manufacturer, you could have 30,000 different products. If you're a CPG company, you could have 10,000 different products. People cannot see. If you're doing wall charts, picking on 1 or 2 representative products, you will miss the representation of the complexity and dynamics within that complex portfolio. So you've got to see the supply chain, and the way to see the supply chain is through analytics. You've You've got to master the big data on your ERP system, and you've got to discover those bad behaviors on those platforms. So that's it. Back to the value propositions. If you want to, if you do these, you can seriously get seriously good outcomes. You know, where facilities costing 200 million euros can increase their output by 30 or 40% because of all this hidden waste. Or you can chase inventory reduction. But if you want a copy of the presentation, that's the email. I am at booth number 5 downstairs when I get a chance. But that's it. Okay, thank you very much.